Hi, it's Nate here, and today I'm talking about Dragon Ball. Why Dragon Ball should have ended and how to fix it. Before you sharpen your pitchforks and light the torches up, hear me out, okay? I want to firstly get out of the way that I have a genuine love for Dragon Ball. It was one of my earliest exposures to anime, and it holds a warm place in my nostalgia-drenched heart. In fact, the whole reason I want to talk about this is because I care so much. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are fun, absurd adventures. They're about reaching the next level, going beyond one's limits, and proving that anyone can come out on top with enough training and dedication. It has an expansive cast of interesting and quirky characters, and a bright, endearing art style. And it's safe to say Dragon Ball has taken the world by storm. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't have any problems. It's no secret that many times throughout Dragon Ball Z, it appears it is written from week to week, with no discernible plan of where the plot is going. And we could blame the manga industry, or the anime industry, or indeed Toriyama's editors, but I do believe some of the blame belongs with the man himself. Essentially, Dragon Ball Z in particular is the same story repeated with very little variation, the main difference being that the power levels are raised significantly each time. Yes, the plot is the weakest part of Dragon Ball Z, but I have opinions about how it could be fixed, or could have been fixed. So since I'm not one to make a video for the sake of criticizing something that I and a lot of people love, let's discuss where it went wrong, and suggest some ways it can be fixed. So first of all, the problems. So the problems with the Dragon Ball series have been talked about at length by a million internet people, so I'll be brief as I can, because there is quite a few problems. But the first one is a constant increase in scale. Dragon Ball was originally successful partially because of the themes of progression and improvement that resonated so well with readers and watchers worldwide. The problem begins to appear when there's no ceiling to this. And I'm not just talking about power levels, which is the obvious thing. In other shows, increasing the scope of the stakes progressively and without a cap caused the meaning of those stakes to no longer matter to the audience. For example, the final showdown in JoJo Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, feels much more tense and the stakes feel much higher than most fights in Dragon Ball, despite the stakes in the former being the fate of a few people in a town, and the latter being possible galactic destruction. We understand that letting Kira get away in JoJo is terrible because we've seen what he can do. His character, his actions, his motives have all been well established. But on the other hand, in Dragon Ball there's no real threat. We get used to seeing galaxies destroyed. Planets are blown up as soon as the second set of villains in the series appear. There's also the fact that there's no consequence to these fights. The stakes are only superficially high because of the lack of boundaries on the wishes that the dragon can grant. And yes, I know that there are actual boundaries to the wishes that the dragons grant, but as the scale of the fights increase, it feels like new loopholes keep being found each time to allow beloved characters to return, all for the sake of continuing the show. Plus, we get to just see dead guys hanging out, having a good time. It makes death have no meaning, especially later on. Therefore we, as the audience, don't really care if the character's harmed, maimed or even killed because, we can always just fall back on the Dragon Balls. This is circumvented a couple of times, but then there's always a new way of getting these guys back. The other part of the problem is there's no longer a way to visually convey the power levels of the characters. And this is most evident in Dragon Ball Super. You'll notice a lot of characters standing around exclaiming that they must be stronger than X, or they're so fast even Y couldn't see them.
What? Nobody outflanks me? I'm Berta! I'm the fastest in the whole universe!
Well, maybe the second fastest now.
What is going on? No one brushes off my crusher ball like that, and nobody puts the moves on Berta! It's like something straight out of a nightmare!
No way, so fast! won't work. I don't care how far you push your time skip, it won't stand a chance against what I am now.
This is because there's not really any way to show off a person's strength to be any higher than what we've already seen. Well, creatively there might be. Brighter, more inventive men and women than myself could probably come up with something. But it's written in this way because it's difficult to do. We have seen planets explode, we've seen galaxies explode, we've seen people get disintegrated, we've seen energy beams as big as several planets. There's just nowhere to go anymore to suggest a character is strong. And so the writer has to simply get a strong guy to tell us, hey, look, that guy's strong, instead of actually showing us. This obsession with rising power has also caused a focus on our main character, Goku, that's kind of ridiculous. Literally no one matters anymore in a fight, because the writer is obsessed with accelerating Goku's upward ascent, and causing the other characters to marvel at how good a fighter and how good a guy Goku is. I mean, the ironic thing is Goku really isn't that good of a guy or that good of a main character. You take a step back and he's just kind of a jerk. As kind of a side, that is one of my favourite things about Goku in Dragon Ball Super, that the writers seem to have leaned into it a little bit. They portray Goku as this irresponsible man-child who can literally think of nothing but fighting. I mean, there's this one episode where he's promised by Bulma that she'll call him when she's asked what when she's asked that guy to train him, and he completely ignores his son's visit just to stare at the phone. I actually like that they're giving a wink to the fact that Goku really does not function well as a good person. But I don't exactly want to root for him in a fight. I kind of want him to lose so someone else gets a shot. Actually, I got kind of upset when they reversed time after the Earth got blown up, after Vegeta had killed Frieza and then Goku did it. Which leads me to my final problem, which also ties into scale and power levels. And the problem is Super Saiyans. I'm going to be really unpopular after this one. Dragon Ball Z and Super are obsessed with trying to show improvement and character growth through new character forms. Of course, because of the problems mentioned before. Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, as well as Blue, Rose, and whatever that new instinct thing is. They all look like they do almost the exact same thing. My problem is that having all these forms is a critical mistake to begin with. Partway through Dragon Ball Z there's talk of a legendary power passed down every so many years through Saiyan blood that allows a chosen Saiyan to tap into almost limitless power in order to save their race. This legendary Super Saiyan is a unique being, with power bestowed only on the pure of heart in order to right evil in the galaxy. And this is nicely established, and when Goku gains this power instead of the boastful Saiyan Prince, and uses it to kill the most powerful tyrant in the galaxy, it feels like this incredible crescendo, a true final battle, an ancient and heroic power versus the greatest evil we've seen up to yet. And then, a few episodes later, suddenly everyone can do it. Trunks, Vegeta, Gohan, even the little kids, and please don't talk to me about S-Cells, that's the worst writing since midichlorians, and you can actually pull some comparisons between them. The legendary Super Saiyan isn't impressive anymore. It isn't special. It isn't untapped power for the pure of heart. It's just something anyone with a drop of Saiyan blood can get if they hit the gym a little more. Once again, all impact has been lost, and we're expected to be tricked into believing the same repeated process in the next few Super Saiyan forms are just as important as the first. There's no suspense, there's no stakes. There's no way the audience can gauge or relate to anything being shown. Okay, so let's talk about some ways we can fix these problems. And so just as a disclaimer, I'm not caught up in Dragon Ball Super, although I have heard most of the general plot points. I've seen a bunch of it, but not all of it. I also might get a few details a little off, as there's a ton of Dragon Ball lore, so forgive me if I mess up. Also, as a little aside, if you feel offended that I criticize Dragon Ball because you like it, and you think it's really good, then that's okay too. If you like it, you aren't a worse person or something, that's cool that you do, and If there's something great about it you think I'm not getting, or a perspective you think I'm missing, then leave a comment and I'll take a look. So Araki has gone on record. Said Araki. So Toriyama has gone on record saying he wanted to finish Dragon Ball Z at the Frieza saga, and I think this would have solved a lot of the problems. You could have ended it with Goku being left to wander space, seeking out new strength or helping people as a legendary Super Saiyan. Everyone else gets wished back and lives happily ever after. Frieza remains as the most powerful being ever besides Goku, and therefore we have a ceiling, we have a cap, we have a nice ending wrapped in a bow. Now I think this is the best case, but then we do miss out on a lot of great characters that people really like, such as Cell, Trunks, Beerus, etc. So here's my proposition for the next few arcs. First of all, bring the power ceiling all the way down. Make it so Goku is missing in space for the whole Cell saga. That way he can't just turn up and solve the problem. Also, you could have it so Trunks never turns up, and if he does not turn Super Saiyan. I think it's really important that no one else turns Super Saiyan, and that when Goku does return, he can't do it at will. That way it is so much more impactful when he does eventually use it. Restraint is the key, something that Dragon Ball really can't seem to grasp. If future Trunks does have to appear, it's simply to warn the remaining fighters about the coming android threat, and to help them prepare. In my opinion, you can also mostly ignore androids 19 and 20, although Dr. Gero could still be there to wake up 17 and 18. And I also personally think that Cell should be perfect the moment of arrival. The whole absorbing 17 and 18 thing looks like just an excuse for more power-ups and transformations. If you wanted him to go down a similar plot point, he could kill them believing they're inferior and their existence is a blight upon his perfection. By the way, Gohan should now become the main character. This was actually the intention of Dragon Ball Z anyway, and he does get his time to shine at the end of the Cell saga, but let's just focus now on Gohan's journey. His journey to perhaps unlock his true hidden potential that's hinted at so many times, that he has the potential to be stronger than Goku. If we really need to see another Super Saiyan, it should be Gohan. It could be said that the power has passed down from father to son as a finale to the series itself. But once again it should be used as a powerful impact upon the story by showing restraint. I also think there are a few ways that you could have fixed the issues in Dragon Ball Super. First of all, you could either once again make Gohan the main character, or now focus on Goten instead. Let us see the growth of a brand new character instead of Goku, who has already achieved ultimate power at this point. You know what, you could even make Vegeta the main character now. With Goku missing, he has to lead the Z Fighters as the new hero, but he's not too trusted, he's not built to be a leader. You could have a lot of fun with his character. Another thing that could have been done, and something that still can be done, and this one's free Toriyama, is make God Ki something completely separate to normal Ki. Now I did hear this suggestion from that great video made by Plague of Gripes. If you've not seen that, go watch it. But I think it's such a fantastic solution. Make God Ki something side by side with normal Ki, instead of above it. Sort of. What I mean is that a person who uses normal Ki would never be able to touch a God character because they're so transcendent. You could say that they're so high above it, it doesn't even compare. But then you can teach all the characters how to access this God Ki, and this levels out the playing field. Straight away you can have Yamcha fighting Beerus if you wanted, and at least putting up a little bit of a fight, because he has become God Yamcha. You could have Krillin fighting a Frieza who had attained godhood, because he too has learned to access that divine energy. You could look to improve your characters sideways instead of upwards. You could still do this today and it would work. You could write it in and make Dragon Ball much more interesting from a writing standpoint, in my opinion, and from a viewing standpoint. Instead of making it the how high can Goku's power level go show. If you've got any other suggestions, then write me a comment. I do read all the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, I want to do one on Gurren Lagann and some other animes, then let me know. Also, if you enjoyed this, consider checking out my Patreon. If you guys support me on there, I can do this more often. And once again, thank you for watching, listening. My name's Nate. I'll see you again.